Good morning, everybody. You can't see me. You don't need to. Thanks to everyone who's joining on Zoom. I'm Chuck Howell. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and Carol Beckman's going to call the roll. Debbie Magenheimer is joining us via Zoom. Carol.
Okay, I'm here. Mark Brown. Bruce Steiger.
Here.
Chuck Howell.
Here.
Craig Hunter. Here. Vivian Longer. Here. Here. Richard Mayron. Debbie Magenheimer.
Via Zoom.
Got it.
All right, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Matt to give his presentation.
Morning. I'm going to start my report with the review of fiscal year 2021, since this is our first time together since the close of last year. Here's a look at our operating revenue and expenses from last year. We had total revenues of $4.3 million. Some of that is restricted. So if we back out the restricted funds for capital, including 10% of dues, which was $278,000. Our new member initial fees were $228,000. We had proceeds from the sale of the club lot of $6,400. So if we back those restricted funds out of total revenues, that left us with total operating revenue of $3.8 million. And that was $475,000 better than budget. Our total operating expenses last year were just over $4.2 million. $539,000 of that was non-cash with depreciation. So if we look at our total cash operating expenses, they were $3.6 million. That was over budget by about $200,000. And we also had a revised budget, which was a deficit budget of $110,000. So if we sum up the excess revenue and over budget on expenses, that still left us about $146,000 in excess operating dollars from last year. So another good year financially for the club. A little closer look at revenues from last year and comparing them to this year's budget. Last year we had budgeted just over $2.5 million in dues.
Nancy is drawing on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see. I can't see anybody. I'm sorry. But I can see the budget now.
All right.
Now,
Yeah. Can you mute? Yeah, Nancy, don't please try not to touch the
it's
screen.
not coming.
Okay, I haven't been able to see any people.
You should
But
be
I
able to
can-
see it now.
Okay.
You will not be able to see people. You'll only see the slideshow.
All right. Last year we had budgeted dues of just over $2.5 million, and our actual dues collection was over $2.7 million. Show you how that compares to this year. The current year's budget is over $2.9 million in dues. Last year we budgeted just over $1 million in user fees and actually brought in over $1.2 million. We're budgeting right about $1.2 million this year for user fees. Our new member initiation fee collections were budgeted at $142,000. We brought in $228,000. This year we're budgeting just under $180,000. Application fee revenues were budgeted at $20,000. We doubled that. And this year we're budgeting $30,000. Then we had some miscellaneous income. So in total, our revenue budget last year was $3.7 million. As we saw earlier, we exceeded that by over $400,000. And this year's budget is roughly the same as last year's actual revenue. Looking at the sources of our revenue by percentage, last year actual 65% of our revenue was from dues, 29% from user fees, 5% from new member fees, and 1% from application fees. Comparing that to this year's budget, It's a similar makeup. 67% by budget is expected to come from dues, 28% from user fees, 4% from new member fees, and 1% from application fees. This is a very typical look at our club. Now looking at expenses, last year we had budgeted just over 2 million in salaries, wages, and benefits, and spent about 2.1. This year we're budgeting almost 2.2 million for salaries, wages, and benefits for operations. Other operating costs were budgeted at 1.8 million. We're over 2 million in actual expenditures. And this year budgeting just over 2 million. So our total operating budget last year, as we saw, we're about $200,000 overspent in operations. This year's budget is about equal to last year's actual expenditures. By percentage, we spend about 51% of our operating budget on salaries, wages, and benefits. And then this year, we're budgeting about the same, almost 52% this year goes to salaries, wages, and benefits, and 48% for other operating expenses. Here's an update on our membership. Here's our dues levels, and we no longer have the tennis levels. However, I put them in because we'll take a look at how our numbers compared to last year. Right now, we have 1,144 property owner members. And you can see to make up 125 social, 724 social plus, 208 sports, 43 single golf, and 44 full golf. We also have 107 non-property owner members. So adding those together, we have 1,251 members currently. Comparing that to last year, we ended the year with 1,247 members. And so right now we have a net gain in members from last year of 4. By percentage, we have about 11% of our members choosing a social level. The largest share, 62%, is social plus, 19% at the new sports level, and then about 4% for single golf and full golf. And this was the one that exceeded our budget expectation. We had budgeted, I think, about 12% there, but that was a new level. It was our best guess at that point. Just wanted to give you an update on a history of our transfer member program. The transfer member program allows our members to temporarily transfer their membership to another person. And this was started in 2014. It came out of the finance committee. It was Mike Harrell who brought the idea up. And it's been very successful over the years. You can see in 2014, the first year, we had 18 transfer members. That number jumped to 25 in the second year. You can see the gradual increase right up to 2019. We had 74 transfer members. In 2019, we stopped allowing unaccompanied guests. So the result of that policy was to more people use the transfer member program for short-term transfers. You can see in 2020, we had 131 transfer members. And this past year, we had 189. And 161 of those 189 were for a month or less. And only 30 of those 161 were for a month or more, meaning 69% were less than a month. This program has been successful in a number of ways. First, financially, looking at transfer fees collected. These are the fees that a transfer member pays per month to transfer the membership. In our first year, we brought in over $3,000, and you can see the increase year to year. Last year, we brought in over $42,000 just in transfer fees alone. And these transfer members also spend money while they're at the club. The user fees have also increased over the years. In the first year, right about $10,000 was spent on user fees by transfer members. You can see the steady increase. Last year, over $100,000 were spent by transfer members on user fees. We take a look at how many years a member has participated in the transfer program. For the first 5 years, there was no restriction on how many years a person could stay in the program. And we found a lot of people were taking advantage of it because it was cheaper than becoming a member. So a few years ago, we started making it increasingly more expensive to transfer the longer you're in the program. That's had the effect we were looking for. Last year, out of the 189 transfer members, 147 were first-time transfers, which is one of the goals of the program was to expose people to the club. Only 28 had been in the program 2 years. 8 of them have been in 3 years, and you can see the very few past that, and that wasn't always the case. In the first 5 years, almost everybody stayed in several years. We also had 5 of the transfer members last year transferred a social membership, and then they paid additional dues to upgrade the members. Upgrade the membership. And 14 of these members last year, the transfer members actually joined the club, which was the goal of this program to begin with. And since inception, we've had 43 transfer members become full-time members of the club. Now we're going to jump to a look at our capital or restricted funds. First, a summary for last year, fiscal year 2021. We started the year in the negative about $200,000. Then we had restricted funds in that year, including dues allocation, excess operating from the prior year, new member fees. This was a COVID tax credit. We got back $117,000 that was put into capital. So in total, we had $607,000 in capital funds available last year. We spent $721,000 on projects. So at the end of the year, the end of October last year, we had negative $115,000 roughly coming into fiscal year 2022. Taking a look at the outlook for this year for our capital funds, we start with that negative balance of $115,000. We expect our allocation of dues, which this year the board has increased to 15%, to be about $480,000 based on our current membership levels. Our budgeted new member initial fees are $179,000, and we're at over 120 right now, so I feel good about that number. We anticipate about $6,000 in proceeds from sale of a club lot. Then the board has moved $106,000 of excess operating from 2021 into capital this year. So we anticipate having this year available about $656,000. Our current capital budget for the year is $425,652. So right now we can anticipate for about $230,000 unencumbered capital funds available. Yesterday, the board met in a workshop session, and management presented them with a number of new capital projects for consideration to be added to this year's budget. I'm going to just list those projects, and Brian will talk more specifically about each one. The first one is $18,000 to upgrade a ton truck for grounds and greens. It's $140,000 for site preparation and to add 4 new pickleball courts. $10,000 to provide for outdoor food service on the clubhouse campus. $50,000 to add new restrooms at the clubhouse. And $20,000 towards a raised and expanded deck at the tennis area. So in total, the new request for capital money for 2022 is $238,000. So at this time, we're seeking a board motion. Management seeks a board motion to amend the fiscal year 2022 annual capital budget to add additional capital projects as presented on the previous slide.
I move.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll assume Debbie's in favor. Okay, Debbie's in favor, so we have this is unanimous. Okay, thank you, Matt.
Another topic that came up at the workshop yesterday, the request of staff, has to do with user fees for the current year. Current year user fee in the area of fitness. As you know, a big change this year was to make fitness classes no charge to members, social plus or above. But there was no accommodation for guests at all. Nancy Fry, our fitness director, said there's been a lot of members requesting to allow guests to participate. This would only be if there's room in the class. So if we're going to do that, we need to add a user fee here. So what management seeks at this time is another board motion. In order to provide a guest fee for accompanied or family guests for fitness classes, following motion. To add a fee to the user fee schedule of $15 per class for family guests or accompanied guests of social plus level members or higher. The social members cannot access fitness classes, nor can their guests. Such guests may only join in a class if there is space available at the start of the class. Members will have the first priority. Guest fee will be charged to the account of the sponsoring club member, because we don't have the ability to accept payment right at the class.
So, is there a motion?
Move.
Second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Yes, okay.
And one more item of discussion from yesterday has to do with our current policy on various membership fees and membership changes. That's members changing from property owner to non-property owner or non-property owner to owner. And certain situations that have come up in the administrative office recently. So in light of that, we're looking for a board motion, as discussed yesterday, to make the following amendment to the fees associated with membership changes. We can state a current member, whether they're a property owner or a non-property owner, who changes their membership to an inactive eligible club property, pay a change fee of $1,000.
Is there a motion? Second. Any discussion? You can hear, okay.
I'm pleased to read this to
It's Mark Brown, by the way.
not just yesterday, but previous meetings of the board. I think we treat our current members, say, as we treat trainers or senior members. Somebody currently who applies for home as membership, $500, they become senior membership. I think as though current member should pay no more than that, whether they're a property owner or non-property owner. And so I propose this motion. I think it should be as here's on the screen.
The only difference with that is they pay $500 if they're taking over an active club membership property. This is to take over an inactive club membership property, which has never paid an initiation fee.
Well, my point is, if I own a piece of property, I pay the initiation fee, I pay my dues. I sell that property, buy another piece of property. I am an active owner, member of the club. And I've already paid those fees.
Right.
So all I'm doing is transferring to a different piece of property. Right.
Correct. But the membership stays with the property by bylaws of membership with the property. So that's the complication.
Yeah, that's where.
That's the complication.
Let me give you just a slight counter to Mark's argument, which is that we still have a number of members who keep active properties on more than one lot, more than one piece of property, or active memberships on more than one piece of property. And change fee we discussed yesterday, the $1,000 is an attempt to somewhat protect their continued investment in the club as well. I think we have that number of people who have multiple memberships is declining, but we still have a number of people. So that's why I'm in favor of changing it to $1,000.
If someone is not a current member and they want to put membership on an inactive eligible property, they pay $5,000. So this is giving a break to current members.
Mark, yes? suggesting that we amend the motion, or you just have, is that just discussion?
Yeah, I'm not seeking to do.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Matt. Gosh, we've been doing this a long time. These annual meetings, you've done such a great job for the club. And I know you're with us now, through the, most of the next year. Gosh, we really appreciate everything you've done, and I personally do. I'm glad there's not a camera on.
We can hear it.
So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about some of the things that happened yesterday at the workshop, and also putting green view. We have a nice view from the putting green now over what used to be, or in place of what used to be blocked by the golf shop. We do have a new app. Hopefully most of you that are watching this have downloaded the app, and if you haven't, there's a tutorial that you can, it'll walk you right through it, and I think you'll enjoy seeing the opportunities you have using the app on your phone. I want to introduce our new golf professional who's here today, and he'll have some things to say, and seems very excited about coming to work for the club. And then he's going to look at some of the progress that's been made with our new golf shop and talk a little bit about that as well. Matt alluded to some capital expenditures, and the upgrade to the ton truck is actually a replacement of the dump bed. This truck is, I believe, a 2012. It only has 27,000 miles on it. And it really is in good shape other than the bed is rusted out. So rather than replacing the entire vehicle next year, we felt it prudent to invest in the new dump bed. We'll purchase an aluminum bed so that it will not rust. A little bit larger bed, but it'll be retrofitted to the truck, and it'll extend the life of this vehicle rather than, again, spending the $90,000 it would take to replace that truck. The site prep for a future pickleball course. These are the original 3 courts, and you can kind of see in the distance the 5th court. The actual location is on the other side of these trees where the future expansion is intended. This gives you a little better view of the area. Lake Coffee is over here to the right. This is the backside of the 5th court. And then on the other side of what is now a creek that leads into Lake Coffee is a relatively flat area where we intend to expand the pickleball courts. And this is a view from the street. If you look from this area, if you're standing right here, you can see, kind of looking up into the valley, that's the field behind the pavilion up there at the top. So this area is the area we intend to pipe this creek and then fill and flatten this area in order to build up to 4 courts. This process will take the majority of the summer. I don't anticipate the use of the courts until late summer, early fall. If at the earliest, it'll really be dependent upon the contractor schedule. And the reason we asked the board to consider this now is, quite frankly, so that we could get on the contractor schedule as we move forward. The board at a previous workshop meeting approved the purchase of an outdoor, or I'm sorry, a food truck for the recreation sports campus. And so this is a picture of how that truck or trailer is going to look. It won't be black, but it will have a hood system, and it will have the ability to grill and fry and do a number of things to provide a better food service option on the sports campus. One of the things that we're looking at is where we've taken down the golf shop. We have a couple different options of either trying to build an outdoor kitchen or purchasing another one of these food truck trailers for that purpose. And utilizing this location, this slab was underneath what was the golf shop. This is where the golf shop was sitting. These rocks were also there. These rocks have been built as planters.
What's in the shop,
it will motivate you to come in and use your credits. So as I said, the shop is now an amenity of the club, so the merchandise is priced as an amenity. So we're going to have some lifestyle merchandise in the golf shop as well as traditional golf merchandise. So there's going to be some additional lifestyle items when you come in. So take a look for those. As soon as you walk in the shop initially on the left, you can't miss it. So there's some fun stuff in there. Excited for you to come in and see it. So grand opening house is going to be May the 29th. So put that on your calendar in the afternoon. Brian is set up. Brian, do you have anything to say about that?
Well, we want all members to come,
Right. Sure.
not just golfers. We'd like for you to see the new shop, see the lifestyle merchandise if you're not a golfer. And certainly, we'll still be open and we'll have play going on that day, but we want you to meet the new staff and we'll do a ribbon cutting and we'll have some entertainment and some light refreshments for you. Encourage you to come by that. That's Memorial Weekend Sunday. We thought that'd be good for members who are still working.
Yeah, great way to get things going for the season. Excited to be a part of that. So we're talking about the new golf shop and where the scoreboard is now positioned. As you know, it was on the side of the park horn before. We have moved it and it's in a covered deck area on the left side of the golf shop. Just fantastic for your convenience. You'll be able to sit there, watch the scores come in as well. Really, really nice scoreboard. Excited to have that for the season. The new shop, as you can see in the picture on the right there, here's the deck there on the left. You can see the shop is tremendous, by the way. I'm really excited about coming into the new shop, completely redid the inside there. So as a professional coming into a position, you couldn't have it any better coming into the brand new shop and a new space to make my own and our own. So counter displays moved a lot of the tables, feature tables and such, as you can see here, moved over and put a lot of slot walls in as well. Really, Brian and Carol have done a tremendous job there. They had it all set up when I got here, so I can't take a lot of credit for the placement of the slot walls and such like that. But been working with Carol and she's been wonderful in helping kind of set this up and get going. Using the feature tables right here. This is in the center of the golf shop. This is over in the ladies area on the right here. As soon as you walk in and to the right, the women's apparel will be on the right initially in the shop counter being over here. And then this is the back stock room right here. There's actually a fitting room here on the right as well. So we're going to have a large mirror as well. So once you try a jacket on, pop right here and take a look at it, or a hat or something like that. There's on the left side of the shop, that lifestyle area we're talking about, some beautiful windows here to create some great light in the golf shop. There'll be, these are some great Joseph Elliott or rather mugs that just come in and they're fantastic drinkware. So got the great new club, rather retro logo that we are using for this season. So that's a limited edition logo. So these look fantastic. We just got them in a few days ago. Nice armoire on the left side here. One difference that you'll see when you get to the club, we're going to have some track lighting up here. We're trying to increase the light in the back of the golf shop here. So the light coming from here doesn't really shine into the back of the golf shop, but we'll have some track lighting to try to spotlight some of the slat walls and the items that we have there as well. So this section of the golf shop initially will be where men's is. We'll have a lot of shoes in this area, and then kind of spread throughout on the feature tables to accessorize the tables as well.
Thank you, Lauren.
So,
thanks, Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lauren's really hit the ground running. We're excited to have him and looking forward to a great year, a great number of years with him as our head professional. We'll kind of wrap up the meeting with some things that the board has considered and voted on since they last met, and then a few other items that they'll need to vote on today. One thing that they did vote on is they actually elected officers, and you know the officers likely by now: Chuck Howell, President, or Steiger, Vice President, Carol Beckman, Secretary, Richard Mayron, Treasurer, and Craig Hunter, Member at Large. The board also accepted a motion from the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee recommended that management be given the approval to seek a line of credit for the club for the maximum amount possible using the 103 Lake Ledge Road properties to secure it. We are about 2 weeks out from having a final approval on that. The total value of the line of credit being $2 million. However, just a reminder to the board and the membership, the board doesn't have the authority to borrow money without the vote of the membership. So all of this was just in anticipation of an upcoming plan that the board's working on now for a capital improvement plan. So don't go running telling your friends that the club just borrowed $2 million. All we're doing is setting up the ability to be able to do that if the membership gives the board that authority. The board voted to close the clubhouse for a wedding reception on August 6th of this coming year. And they also voted to close the golf course for some of the tournaments that Lauren spoke about, the Black Bear member, just on the Saturday round. There'll be a Sunday morning, June 26th shotgun, and Sunday afternoon, the 26th of June, will be open for member shotgun. If you're not playing in the tournament, or if you are playing in the tournament, you just want to keep playing, you can sign up for an afternoon time. And then the two days during the member guest, the Friday and Saturday of member guest Mountain Magic Invitational, the course will be closed. The board voted obviously to approve a contract for the professional that you've just met, and to demolish the golf shop, which you saw a picture of. It is no longer there. The board also voted prior to today to amend the budget for a few things like the food truck trailer and the demolition of the golf shop, to fund those things so they could happen and be completed and allow us to progress toward our opening day for summer activity. And then they voted 6 in favor and 2 opposed to a request from a member to close the clubhouse on Friday, July 8th. So that motion passed. And other business for you today, the board looked at a contract. It's an annual contract for Tim Smith, our tennis professional, yesterday, and I'd be seeking a motion from the board to approve that. And so,
There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
and then we looked at, and actually the board decided to modify the clubhouse dress code. When I presented this to the board yesterday, I presented it as, what I attempted to do was present it as no modification to the dress code. And this is really a learning situation for myself and Kendall and Lynn. Be careful what you ask for. So the board has taken an opportunity to amend the dress code as follows. And again, as I said yesterday, I think this is what you told me. So if you would take a minute to read this, I'll read it out loud. But at the clubhouse and associated venues, see, now that we have the pub level that we're utilizing on a regular basis, and the casualness of the outdoor lawn, and what we hope to be an outdoor kitchen adjacent to the clubhouse, there seemed to be a need for us to address dress. So appropriate dress, as you defined it yesterday, I believe, is jeans, golf, and racket attire. You asked me to change it from tennis attire to allow us to include pickleball with that, are permitted along with other appropriate club casual style dress, including khakis, dark wash jeans, dresses, blouses, polo shirts, loafers, dress shorts, collared shirts, and sweaters. But I think what you wanted to do was really simplify it and basically say, you're allowed to wear this, and we would prefer that you never wear hats or caps indoors if you're a male, tank tops, casual t-shirts, jeans with holes, bathing suits, cover-ups, or beach style flip-flops. Is that what you all decided yesterday?
I believe so.
I'm confused.
It's inferred that you're allowed to have an untucked shirt, Richard.
So we need a motion.
We will need a motion. This is a new.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
No, just men wearing hats or caps indoors is its own little. Please remove your hat indoors.
Yeah.
Is what that's intended.
Everything else applies to both.
Everything else applies. Right.
I mean, say that I think some of our longer term members and older members can be a little bit distraught by this. But I think we have to confront the reality of where clubs are moving and where we are moving. And that is, we are trying to encourage people to be more casual dining. People want the casual dining. People are using the pub, especially the lower level, more for casual dining. I think we need to allow members to self-police themselves. And if they're going to come to the club upstairs on a Saturday night, they will be appropriately dressed within the confines that we give them. This makes it a lot easier for staff to enforce what's now going to be the current policy, as opposed to having different policies for different nights of the week. So I think it is progress, and I think we need.
Vivian?
I don't think that this policy precludes us from having a special event
That's correct.
where we can specify jacket and tie. or
Absolutely.
Semi-formal.
For example, the casino night later in the year, I think we're going to encourage folks to really dress up. It'll be the Saturday night of the club championship, September 10th. That'll be a night where I know the staff has talked about really wanting folks to dress it up.
And New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, the New Year's Eve, part 2,
Right.
that we're doing in early June, we'll encourage folks to dress up like you would for New Year's Eve.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
All right. Is there any other business?
I'm not aware. Anybody have any other business?
It is being reported.
Well, some of it was. We had to blip with the internet. But yeah. We didn't have any questions from the audience, so is there a motion to adjourn?
I have a question.
Oh, Marion Johnson has a question.
I didn't hear any discussion about the bocce ball courts. I thought you were going to discuss that today.
There wasn't any, wasn't a motion or any business on the bocce ball courts. The bocce ball courts are going to remain where they are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a comment, Richard Weinstein.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I just want to thank the board and Brian. I've been a member since 2019 and it was great then, and I'm seeing nothing but improvement. And these are terrific ideas and additions. Very exciting, very thrilled, and just want to thank you for the great work. Look forward to more.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. I'm just going to take just 1 second to piggyback on what Brian said earlier. Matt loves it when we call him out. So I want to say that my time serving on finance and serving on the board and being a member at Beech Mountain Club has certainly been enhanced by all the hard work that Matt's done since way before I got here and now, and we're certainly going to miss him. Brian tried to make him stay, but he's just so stubborn. So, but Matt, thank you so much. We really appreciate everything you've done. Try not to make Brian cry again. So, all right. So with that, we're going to have a motion to adjourn in a second.
We've got a motion.
Yep. And there's a second. All right. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Sorry, we had technology issues.